It is no secret that there is massive discontent with politics in America today. In the midterm elections in November 2014, 63% of Americans did not vote, including 80% of young people. Poll after poll tells us that our citizens no longer have confidence in our political institutions, and given the power of big money, what their vote means in elections. Combating this political alienation, and all of you know it, all of you have talked to your friends, and they say, why are you going out on this beautiful day? There's somebody named Bernie Sanders from Vermont. At least you guys know where Vermont is. Many people around the country don't, but what are you wasting your time doing this?
We love you, Bernie!
But it's not just... Okay, and I appreciate that. And I love you too. But here's the point, and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this is not about Bernie Sanders. Let me tell you something. Because I work in Washington, that's my day job. And this is what I want to tell you. You can have the best president in the history of the world, somebody courageous, smart, bold. That person will not be able to address the major crises that we face unless there is a mass political movement, unless there's a political revolution in this country. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? What I mean is pretty simple. Is that right now, the only major pieces of legislation that get to the floor of the House and the Senate are pieces of legislation that are sanctioned and approved by corporate America, Wall Street, and the big money interests. Okay? And the only way that we beat these guys, who are incredibly powerful, they contribute huge sums of money into political campaigns. They have super PACs, where they're putting millions and tens of millions of dollars in it. They have lobbyists running all over Washington, D.C. They own much of the media. The only way we win and we transform America is when millions of people stand up, as you're doing today, and say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. This country belongs to all of us and not a handful of billionaires. Now, I happen to like the President of the United States very much. He's a personal friend of mine, and I've known Barack Obama for many years. And I think history will judge his record a lot better than his contemporaries, understanding where we were 7 years ago when we were losing 800,000 jobs a month, when the financial system, as a result of the greed and illegal behavior of Wall Street, was on the verge of collapse, when we were running up a $1.4 trillion deficit. That's where we were. But here is the major mistake that President Obama has made. He ran in 2008, and by the way, obviously we all know the huge role that New Hampshire plays in these things. He ran a great national campaign, brilliant campaign, motivated people all over this country, young people, working people, people of color, people came together. But after he was elected, he believed that, I think it was out of the goodness of his heart in a sense, he believed that he could sit down with these right-wing Republicans and negotiate and reach some kind of compromise, when it is very clear that these Republicans, not for one instant, wanted to reach any sensible compromise. They wanted to obstruct.